Welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are going to look at documenting RESTful APIs using OpenAPI specification. So OpenAPI specification uses Swagger tools, and today we are going to look at how we will be documenting our RESTful APIs. Taking into consideration that you've created your APIs in Spring Boot using Spring Boot framework, that is. So from our previous tutorial, what we had learned is getting a crude RESTful API, and then the data source of our choice we selected was Postgres. We did some configurations of our data source. Hope you can check out this from the GitLab and you can see the code. From our controller, then we have these APIs where we have the add, the update, the get, and the delete. Basically, these are crude operations for our API. Then for us to document this so that you can give this documentation to anyone who wishes to use your service, first we need to add OpenAPI specification as a dependency. So on how will we go about that? So go to your browser of choice, go to search for a dependency called OpenAPI Maven dependency. After searching, you will be redirected to this. So go to that first, and you'll see the different versions which are there. So from this, the current version which is there is 1.7. This is the latest release. I'm using Gradle, so I'll just copy this. I'm using Gradle, so I'll copy this. So in case you are using Maven, you just click here, then you'll see this Maven. We are using Gradle. These are the specification for that dependency. After copying all that, then we will come to our code. Then we'll go to our Gradle file. So in your case, you will go to Maven, that is the pom.xml, for those guys who are using Maven dependency manager. So for Gradle, you'll see this. So I've added it here. You'll see it here. So after adding all that, you'll just sync your dependency. So assuming I've done this, and then change to this, it will prompt me the sync, this icon there, so I'll be able to sync. But now I'm using 1.70. For this, I'd synced my dependency. So after downloading or syncing your dependencies, then you run your application. So our application will start running. And from here, we can see our application started on port 8080. So based on the port that the application runs, then you'll go to the browser again now to see the documentation, where we'll say you go to this URL, localhost. So because I'm running on localhost, so that's it. So localhost, the port, then you say Swagger UI, then index.html, then you click enter. So it will load. First, one thing you'll notice here, it brings in a custom URL. So OpenAPI by default, you need to give this path here. So to some other cases, when it loads, you might find that this URL is different. It will bring a different documentation from what your API has. So make sure it points to v3/API -docs. Then you'll be able to see that our documentation appears for the controller. Remember our controller, we called it product controller. So the get, the put, the delete, the post, all of them appears here. So you can even try adding your request from here. You click try out, then we can say our product test product testing product. So this is just some dummy data. Then after doing that, you click execute. So you will be able to see you are able to 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 hit the endpoint, though we are having some error. So based on that, you can try out your APIs. Basically, what OpenAPI helps us to do is to document our API so that if I give anyone this URL, they're able to know that for you to access this resource, this is what the properties you need to pass. If you need to get to update, this is what you do. If you need to get, you pass an ID. For example, you try out, you pass an ID, then you get the results. So based on all this, so like this, we have gotten the response. So it documents all the response, it gives you the URL, all that. And as well, it documents your schemas. Remember, for the product request, it gives details like such. The name, it gives it's in string, description in string. So you're able to know that whatever parameters you're passing, this is kind of the schema of what you expect. The response on how it is going to come, this is the response as well the data type for the individual member variable for those objects. So basically this is it. This is what I wanted to learn today on how we document our APIs. As well, you can give some custom definition of your documentation. By default here, you can say it is saying it's Open API definition. So we can create some config and then we give our custom definition to that. So for that on how we can do it, we'll come to our code base. We can create one package called config. Then here we'll create a class called swagger config. So this that we'll annotate at configuration. Then we'll create a bin. Then here we'll say public open API, which comes from Swagger. We say custom open API. So you will say return new open API dot info. You can say new info dot contact. We can say contact with say simply java at gmail.com. So these are just dummy dot description. Sorry, we can move this. We say some basic title. You can say product API dot. You can say even version. Version you can say is a string. 1.0 dot, can give even a description. So you can go forth. These are the other variables that you can change, and then from there you can personalize your API documentation as per your wish. So if we remove this, if we rebuild our application again and then refresh, we'll be able to see a different so our application has restarted. If we go to and refresh, so you'll be able to see product API. Initially it was open specification, open API. So this is an API documentation for the product service. It's version 1.0. This is what we had mentioned in our description here while we were creating these open API. So basically that's it. If you find this video interesting, you give it a like, and then share as well, subscribe. See you next. Thank you. Bye.